Vladimir Putin's his power is founded on money. This system he has built over the last 20 years, well, 23 years, is always hungry. To keep people loyal to him, to keep making them follow in his orders, Vladimir Putin needs to feed them. So Russian economy had always been of Putin's interest. Not the economy itself, to be precise, but the amount of money available to him, his friends, and to maintain the vertical of power, the system he had built. And this had been so until recently. I think that a few days ago, to be precise, on Friday, June 23rd, Putin lost whatever interest he had to the economy. He simply faced a much bigger threat, an immediate threat to his power, the Wagner mutiny. You see, the economy has been killing him slowly and killing the entire country slowly, but the mutiny could kill him within hours. So my bet is Russian economy is the last thing on Vladimir Putin's mind right now. But to us, regular Russian Ivans, Russian economy is the first and the main thing on our minds, at least to the ones who think and most likely don't drink much, because Putin's gonna go soon. I mean, there's no question about that. My bet Russia will have a new leader by the end of the year, but he'll leave us the economy ruined by his decisions and actions, and that ruined economy will last and affect us for decades. Gosh, it'll affect our kids, okay? Yes, the situation is that bad. This is why I pay close attention to economy's performance and Russian government decisions and actions that influence it. So let's take a closer look how Russian economy has been performing according to the latest numbers, facts, and figures. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where I give you news updates that I find important, that explain the mess that is really happening in Russia right now. What you will not find on this channel is BS, propaganda, and lies and fakes. What you will find is truth, logic, common sense, and emotions, because I am a human being. Inside Russia is the place where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. For the first 30 or so minutes, I give my message of the day, and then I invite everyone to carry on to live stream chat where we converse and I answer questions. I like that very much, and I would like to thank you for coming today and giving me a chance to speak and share my thoughts. And the thoughts are about Russian economy. I'll start with a disclaimer. I only have economy's numbers for the first 5 months of the year. For the month of June, the numbers will come out in about 2 weeks, but they will definitely be worse than expected, and then the May numbers, because of one simple reason. Wagner mutiny, it did not help Russian economy, and you know what, I'm putting it very mildly. So June 2023, this is what's happening inside Russia with Russian economy. First, something interesting. If you look at Russian propaganda, you will see actually some kind of a bright picture. Propaganda paints the picture that is better than the old picture, that the picture used to be. They're saying, well, we're recovering and the worst is over. It's very strange. Just think, the country is under international sanctions. the biggest sanctions in the history of humankind. The bread-making revenues from oil and natural gas exports have shrunk tremendously. The Western companies have left, taking jobs and technologies along with them. Millions of young Russians have fled Russia. Hundreds of thousands of men have been mobilized, are fighting in Ukraine, and have been killed. And how is economic recovery possible under these circumstances? And that's right. Recovery is impossible now. Yet propaganda says it's happening. We can figure out what's going on if we dig a little deeper, because economy is not rocket science. It's actually very simple. It's math, it's mathematical models, and it's basically the rule that every action has a reaction. So let's dig a little deeper. Oh, don't I love economic, doing streams on economy. Russian propaganda is pulling a magic trick. It's very common, commonly used magic trick. It compares oranges to apples. You never do that if you want to get good results, true results. If you compare oranges to apples, you can find recovery in Russian economy. But if you compare apples to apples, you'll see a much different picture, a much darker picture. Let me explain. In order to be objective, we must compare current numbers with pre-war numbers. Let's say April of 2023, economic performance, we compare to April of 2021 economic performance. Same thing goes for May. May 2023 needs to be compared with May 2021. What propaganda does, they compare April and May of 2022 last year to this year. And last year at this time, in April and May in Russia, there was chaos, panic. Sanctions started hitting Russia, and no one knew what was going on and what was going to happen. So basically, Russian economy crashed temporarily for the months of April and May in 2022. Crashed, okay? Then it started recovering. The Russian central bank and the government's actions, they helped to keep the economy afloat and not to have it sink, not to sink. Also, Russia was selling oil and gas at that time, and the prices skyrocketed. That helped a lot. But April and May were particularly bad. So April and May were actually the worst months in country's economic recent history. So this is what propaganda's magic trick is. Comparing 2022 and 2023. If you compare 2023 now to what was happening 1 year ago in April and May, then you will see today is much better picture. That's right, numbers are better. But if you compare today with what was happening in 2021, you will see that the pictures, the numbers are much, much worse, okay? So I suggest we compare apples to apples to get objective picture. Okay, so this is what's happening. I'm just going to give you a few points. What's happening with the economy? Okay, let's go. Number one, retail sales are recovering. In the second quarter of 2023, the retail sales started recovering. Indeed, they have recovered compared to April and May of 2022. Well, remember what was happening 1 year ago in 2022? Chaos. People started losing jobs. Western companies started leaving Russia en masse. and Russian companies hadn't moved in to take their places at that time. People were not buying anything. They were trying to save every penny, well, every ruble, not knowing what was awaiting them as very normal move, not to spend, but to save every ruble. And then retail sales back then, they dropped tremendously, okay? People weren't buying anything. The shopping malls were empty. I actually made videos about that. You can go and check them out, May 2022. But the retail sale, so now retail sales are above what they were in 2022 at the same time, but they're well below of what they were pre-war 2021. Okay, that's what we should be comparing at. Now, let's take a look why retail sales have somewhat recovered in the last few months. What reasons? There are actually two. Reason number one, a great deal of increase of retail demand, retail sales, lies in military spendings. See, Russian military industrial complex is working 24/7 overnight, and lots of money have been pumped into it. And you see, the money has been spread over people who are employed. So whoever has a job in the military industrial sector, they're making more now. They have as much job, as much work as they can handle, as they want, making more money too. The reason number two, and this is a very important reason to watch for, and I suggest both me and you, we mark this reason, because that's going to backfire in the future. There has been big growth of unsecured personal loans in the last few months. Such growth can be okay if economy is stable, if it's on the rise, and people have economic future. People know that they're not going to lose jobs tomorrow and everything's going to be all right. So they take a loan and they know that they will repay the loan later. Okay, in today's Russian economy, it's simply a bubble growing. People take out loans and they spend on whatever, consumer goods. I mean, give me a break. Well, first of all, they have to pay out interest rates, and then they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Well, perhaps that's why they're taking out loans, hoping not to pay them. But regardless, that is a very dangerous bubble. I personally can tell you that I don't have any loans outstanding in Russia. And to Russian banks, I am a good customer. They keep calling me a few times every single week, offering loans, personal loans, unsecured loan for anything, car, mortgage. And I'm saying, no, thank you, but no, thank you. But they keep on calling me. My Russian telephone still works here, So they keep on calling me, and they're just, banks are trying to get new customers. Banks are trying to stay afloat. Very dangerous situation in the long run. Number two, overall industrial growth. In the last few months, there has been a growth in the industry, overall growth. And the propaganda, of course, has been saying about that. Let's take a look at what industries grew and what industries shrunk. It's actually very simple, and it's a good showcase. There has been growth in 4 industries in Russia at this point. And remember, we're comparing April 2023 to bad April of 2022 now. That's oranges to apples, okay? Even these oranges to apples give us very clear picture of what's going on. So the 4 industries that have grown are special apparel, that's military uniforms, up by 47%. April 23 from April of 22. Metallic products, that's missiles, bombs, ammunition, and so forth, up by 30%. Microelectronics and optics, again, products for military use, up by 23%. And transportation tools and equipment, again, military use, up by 12%. 4 industries have experienced growth. And guess what? Other industries in Russia have not been so lucky. They have not experienced growth. Actually, they have fell down compared to bad April of 2022. So the bad April of 2022 and April of 2023 is catastrophic, based on this logic. Among the industries affected the most are, basically all industries except for those 4 I told you about with growth. All others have fell down, but there are some that have been affected much, much worse than the others. They are home constructions, new home construction, pharmaceuticals, heavy machinery, tire production and rubber production, paper products production, and trains, cargo wagons, and engine productions. So these are industries that have been hit the most, and what we're witnessing right now is that there's a split in the economy, and we can say that Russian economy consists of 2 economies now. One is war economy that produces everything, at least some things required by the Russian army to continue the war in Ukraine. And the second part is regular economy. What we're seeing right now, this split has been growing. Number 3, hidden unemployment is up. Vladimir Putin has been bragging lately that unemployment in Russia now is at all-time low. Well, there are 2 kinds of unemployment in Russia, hidden and open, okay? At least that's how I call them. Let me explain. Hidden unemployment is, open unemployment is when person is out of job officially and he or she goes and registered as unemployed with the government. Hidden unemployment, that's when people work only 1 or 2 days out of the work week and they get paid accordingly. Or they are forced to take unpaid vacations, unpaid leave for a long time. For example, for 12 months. They don't get fired, but they don't work, they don't get paid, and on paper, they still considered employed. 4 million people estimated, and that's about 6% of entire Russian workforce, are on unpaid leave right now. That's hidden unemployment. Number 4, investments. Investments availability and the size of investments in any country is a huge, very important indicator of performance of any economy. The number usually shows how much money is being spent on new projects of different kinds, and that's economic development. With investments, there's great economic development. Without investments, there's no economic development. You can consider investments as future, economic future of the country. You have investments, you have future. You don't have investments, there's no future. Well, guess what? First and second quarters of 2023, the available investments in Russia they have been nearly zero. No wonder, no foreign investments, they all, 100% of them have left. Russian investors either have left or leaving, trying to get the money out of Russia. It's normal. Russia is a very unstable economy now, and you just cannot invest in the long run in this country. So most of Russian investors have fled also, and few are in the process of leaving. Russian government was hoping to attract the investors from China and India, the new friends of Russia. And guess what? No investors has showed up. No, none. Number 5, budget deficit. Oh, that's my favorite topic. Budget deficit is basically body temperature if we compare economy to a human being. In May, federal budget deficit did not grow. First of all, it's already high, very high. It's already way past plans for the entire 2023, and it's just, we're looking at the numbers for the end of May. This stabilization of budget deficit was achieved by government cutting its expenses. Remember in the last stream I made about 6 weeks ago, where I gave you the update of the state of Russian economy, I explained that the ministries of economic development and finance were in panic. And this is how I named my previous stream. The numbers are out. Panic. Yes, panic. They were in panic and they are still in panic. Russia is simply running out of money. It's earning way too little and it's spending way too much. Plain and simple. Again, economy is not a rocket science, folks, very simple. Bread making exports have been halved, and the spendings have been increased by a great deal, military spendings. What to do? There's a dilemma. The dilemma is, Russian Central Bank, Russian Ministry of Finance, and Russian Ministry of Economic Development are thinking what to do. And I'm pretty sure they don't know what to do. They have a hard choice. I think it's called between rock and a hard place in English. You see, on one side, they can keep on spending a lot and receiving little. And then they can pump government's money, budget's money into the economy, and they can, keep afloat consumer demand a little bit at least, And in this case, they will run out of cash reserves, government savings account, very, very fast. And they will be forced to print money. Remember, Russian government at this point cannot borrow any money anywhere. It is not allowed to borrow abroad. It's under sanctions, and the Russian debt is under sanctions, and it cannot borrow at the Russian citizens because they simply don't have any money. They can steal from the citizens by introducing new laws or by seizing bank accounts, but that's kind of a weapon of last resort. Its only viable option will be to print money that will lead to skyrocketing inflation and increase in all prices, okay? That's one option, to keep on spending, trying to keep the economy afloat. In this case, Russian government is acting as one huge investor, basically supporting all the industries, or trying to support at least, preventing from crashing. The second option is government cuts down tremendously on all government spendings. But remember, Russian government is paying almost for everything in Russia. They'll have to cut down on pensions of retired people, salaries of teachers, salaries of police, salaries of army, salaries of doctors. They will have to decrease budgets of schools, hospitals. They will cut down on infrastructure maintenance, roads, water pipes, gas, oil, everything. It's all government's money. There's very, very little private money in Russia. It's Russia, okay? It's all government's money. Government takes everything and distributes everything. So In case Russian government will will cut down on spending much on this huge country, Russia will start falling apart very soon. So, again, they are between a rock and a hard place. My prediction, well, my forecast is that the budget deficit will keep on growing, and it will be around 10 trillion rubles by the end of the year. The plan was a little over 3 trillion, so you see the magnitude. Number 6, inflation is back. Number 6 is derived from number 5. The inflation is back big time, and the prices are on the rise. Inflation is back, and it's pretty bad, so bad that Russia's central bank head, Elvira Nabiullina, is really worried. She's worried so much that she just hinted that Russian central bank will increase its interest rate soon to keep the inflation down. Now, that will slow down the economy even more. So you understand how they are concerned about the inflation. I think inflation affects prices, regular prices, including prices for food, and they hate to see food prices rising because more people pay for food, is unhappier they become. And the Russian people, Russian government don't want to see Russian people unhappy, if you know what I mean. There are 2 reasons for the rise of the inflation so far. Let me explain. First is unsecured personal loan growing bubble. People take out unsecured loans and spend, okay? That is temporary situation. It keeps high demand for consumer goods and for goods in general, keeps the markets up a little bit, but that's temporary. And it's a very short situation. In the long run, that's a disaster in the making. And the second reason, surprise, surprise, but this is the lack of skilled personnel, professionals. I've been saying many times, all people who are here in Tashkent and in Uzbekistan in general, and I know because I see people around me with higher education, highly skilled professionals who making a living for themselves here, and they have no problem finding jobs either in Uzbekistan or remotely in Russia or in other countries. I did not see unskilled laborers here, okay? They simply don't have enough money to leave Russia and come to Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan or other countries. So the skilled professionals have left the war and live abroad. But their jobs for skilled professionals are still left in Russia, okay? And companies that have openings, they are forced to raise salaries to the ones who remain in Russia, because competition for the few professionals left in Russia is very hot right now, and that is heating up the labor market. So that's the second reason for increased inflation. And the prices will be rising. This is a long-term trend. Elvira Nabiullina herself confirmed it. She said that Russians should start getting used to raising prices because the price rise is here to stay. And she's a very smart lady. I have respect for Nabiullina, not to her values, personal values, but to her knowledge as a banker. So I think she's very right. Number 7, a very simple benchmark by which economy can be judged is cargo turnover. So I'm looking at cargo turnover and I'm seeing the decline. This is pretty simple and self-explanatory. The better the economy doing, the more transactions, the more products get moved. Therefore, they need to be moved either by trucks or by rail. The better economy doing, the more cargo turnover is. The worse the economy is doing, the smaller cargo turnover is. So guess what? There has been cargo turnover decline. Cargo turnover, the amount of goods, materials, products shipped within Russia have fallen. In the first and the second quarters, it has fallen compared to the bad months of the first and the second quarter of last year. So the last year was bad, but this year is even worse. Enough said. Number 8, low oil prices. Russian experts, oil and gas has been Russian bread making. The exports have contributed to almost half of Russian budget. Oil and price have been the most significant exports, the most significant products, things that Russia supplied to the world. Not anymore. It's not supplying gas, barely supplying any gas because, for obvious reasons. It has no customers and it does not have any pipelines to supply. Very few left. And oil, it still supplies, but there is a cap for Russian oil and there aren't too many customers. Only China, India. China is not doing well economically, so therefore it does not need that much oil. And India is also cutting down on buying oil from Russia. No oil, no money for Russian budget. And there's not much Russia can do about that. Moving on, number 9. Russian ruble is weakening. Again, there's not much I can say. Only today, Russian ruble was trading for about 86 to 87 rubles per American dollar. Month ago, it was trading 79.82. It makes sense. Russian economy is not well. Trust in Russian ruble is not there. Companies don't need rubles. They don't buy rubles. People trust in dollar, American dollar. Therefore, there's demand for dollar. The more demand, the cheaper ruble is. And there are some other reasons I'm not going in right now. That's a different stream, a separate stream. I'd like to make a stream about Russian ruble and its performance since the beginning of the war. And number 10, another pretty good benchmark that I think that shows life on the ground, so to speak, life of regular people, is car sales. So in Russia, there's been a car sale decline. Again, Russian propaganda doing its magic trick. It's saying that, demand for cars in Russia is recovering, is growing. And it compares 2023 to 2022. In 2022, everything stopped. Okay, there was no demand whatsoever. Very few cars were sold. So compared to last year, this year is actually better. But if we compare apples to apples, and that is 2021 to 2023, we'll see that in the month of May, 2 years ago, they were 144,000 brand new cars sold in Russia. And in May of 2023, only 71,000 of new cars sold in Russia. And remember, right now, there's lots of unsecured loans and banks basically giving loans to anyone who's willing to put their signature, okay? So that 71,000 cars, take a great part of it and deduct. Without loans, people wouldn't have bought those cars. It's really hard to estimate, but I think the number is big. So there are 10 points I wanted to make about the current performance that show the current performance of Russian economy. And I want to remind you that I gathered all this data before the Wagner mutiny. Russian government, historically, since the start of a Russian-Ukrainian war, had paid attention to two things. War in Ukraine, well, obviously, and the economy, because the economy is the foundation for the vertical of power, for the system of governance of Russian society, and the foundation of the war in Ukraine, because without money, you can't win the war. Without money, you cannot do anything, basically. So Russian government paid very close attention to these two things, the war and the economy. Now, the focus is off the economy. You can't take the focus off war because you lose immediately. So they're still paying attention to the war. Russian Ministry of Defense doing its thing, you know. But the economy, no. Now, Russian government did titanic efforts to keep country's economy afloat. Sorry, no pun intended. In it prolonged life, of Russian economy. It did not sink right in the beginning, but it stayed somewhat afloat and it started sinking recently. Now government's focus is someplace else. Now the focus is on private armies of power groups that are trying to seize power inside Russia, you know. And when that is happening, the government people, the economies, they could care less. They need to survive now. They need to fend off the attempts of seizing power from Prigozhin or whoever wants to do it after Prigozhin. And, economy can wait, so to speak. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, I think, in the following months. Starting July, starting very soon, spendings will skyrocket, even compared to already high spendings that Russia has been incurring in the last months, you know. I think that the inflation will skyrocket by the month of September. I think that Russian ruble will continue to fall. I think that Russian war economy is going to be somewhat stable for some time, but Russian regular economy is going to be in free fall, like it is right now. I think that the living standard will be lowering, and most importantly, I think Russian government's not going to care that much about the economy anymore, because it has bigger things to take care of. Now, we'll get back talking about Russian economy in the beginning of October. You mark my word, the picture will be much, much darker than it is right now. Folks, this has been my message. Thank you so very much for coming and giving me a chance and listening. Fantastic to see over 7,000 people here. I would like to invite everyone to carry on to live stream chat. I will try to answer all the questions that you have for me. And I love economic questions because I'm an economist by trade, and I like economy. Everything is that is connected with the economy. I would like to ask you a couple favors. First is, would you please help spread my message by making reposts on your social media accounts of what I just said if you liked it. Of course, it'd be nice if you like and subscribe to the channel, and sign up for my Telegram group called Inside Konstantin's Russia. Description will be, the link will be in the description below. And if you'd like to buy me coffee, I'd love that. I like drinking coffee. I wouldn't mind. So thank you so very much. Turning on the chat. And looks like we are live. On. Been live for quite some time already. I apologize for technical difficulties. I had to move up the stream by about 30 minutes. Things happen here, not the best technical infrastructure around me. I'm sorry. Mods, thank you so much for coming. We have Lorna, Mami K, Harry Portman, Bob S, Amir, and Blackhead. Welcome, friends. Thank you so much. And the usual suspects I'm seeing. Thank you for coming back, and thank you. Fantastic to see everyone. Friends, if you want me to see your questions easier, please put it in caps and put inside Russia after @ so I see questions or comments highlighted in orange box. Thank you, just like Harry Potter did. Howdy, Harry. Jimmy Penrose, as usual, from Edgecombe, Maine, the way life should be in the vacation land. Please say hello to the wonderful state of Maine from me, my friend. Dave Strains, live. Laszlo, RW, Mama Two Boys, Amanda Reidnor. Welcome, friends. Fantastic to see you. Hoa Morenos, Pentium, Pinda the Peanut, K. Paul, Ken Tyler, Cyber Tater, thank you so much. Do you think Mutiny could have been pay dispute? No. No, I don't think so. Different reasons. There will be an update on Mutiny. It's not over yet, okay? Prigozhin, believe it or not, today flew to Moscow, negotiated with someone, I don't know, perhaps Putin, but I'll get back to you on that tomorrow, and flew back to Minsk. Eugene Lindsay, could you describe how an ordinary family in Russia buys a house? No, I can't. I don't really know. Only extraordinary families have ability to buy apartments or houses. Of course, you could get a mortgage, but it was a way of the past, because Russian economy in the past was more or less stable and there were jobs available. Not any longer. Lots of houses and apartments are inherited in Russia. And it's really difficult for a young family to buy a house, or usually not a house, usually an apartment. Cheaper, and it's smaller, cheaper, but still it's very difficult. Sidewalk Astronomy Netherlands, howdy, good evening. James Edwards, Koshkin Dome, James, thank you. Golden Lady, Washington State, hello, Mark, Meek, the Ghost. Keith from Hawaii, howdy. Gary Hudson, will the Chinese car industry do well in Russia? Well, so far it's doing not too bad, because Chinese cars, 3 companies are only ones available in Russia, so there's no competition. And obviously there's Lada, but that's not a good choice. So Chinese cars have been sold in numbers, but again, the numbers in general are small, and the Chinese have bumped up prices so bad. For example, a car in China is sold for 900,000 rubles. The same car here, they sell for 3.5 million rubles. So it's like 3 to 4 times more, just because take advantage of the situation, lack of competition, you know. Russian lawmakers, Russian parliamentarians, senators, they started addressing this issue today. They're trying to make a law that will not allow car dealers to raise price by more than 15%. So they're basically trying to regulate car prices. That's not gonna lead any place nice. You can trust me on that. There are a couple super chats. Thank you so much, friends. Michael Barnett. Hi, Konstantin. Did you message use CGI? CGI, is it a computer graphics? No, my message is not using CGI. Do I look like I'm not real? Oh, hurts. I think I'm real. It's not CGI. Sorry, Michael, to disappoint you, but I'm real. RW, howdy friend. Great stream. How many economists does Putin send to change a light bulb? None. It's getting brighter. It's definitely getting brighter. Yeah. Thank you for your support, and thanks for you coming back and being my friend and part of this community. Thank you. Faith Russert from Illinois. What happened to Spain? Are you back? Susan Samuelson, thank you so much for sending hellos to us. Chirper, long time no see. Welcome back. Pinda the Peanut, are the cars promised and delivered to widows of Russian soldiers included in the car sales figures? Most likely, yes. I don't know, but most likely, yes. Because that's the government buys brand new car, you know. K. Paul, howdy. Popsy Sebastian, howdy, howdy. EW1974, hello. Jason Carney, welcome back, Jason, and thank you for another huge support. You're the champion of Inside Russia supporting. Thank you, friend. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Cat M, hoping you can sing me a happy 67th birthday today. I definitely can, but I'm giving a fair warning to everyone. Please cover up your ears because I'm about to sing happy birthday song. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Miss Cat M, happy birthday to you. Wishing you many happy returns of the day, good health, lots of wealth, and good life. Thank you for being a member of our community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. KG1, India and China still buying large amounts of oil and gas. Must be slowing down the collapse. KG1, they are the only ones left buying, and India has been cutting the amounts of Russian oil because I think that the Indian Prime Minister visited the United States. They must have had talks behind closed doors, and this is what is happening. Most likely that India has already taken steps on cutting down buying Russian oil, and China isn't buying much because Chinese economy isn't doing much. There isn't great demand. So large amounts, yes, but that's absolute number. If you take percentage, that's not large compared what Russia used to sell to different countries before. Jason Carney, I saw another support from you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. William Robel, thank God Konstantin didn't sing happy birthday to you on my birthday. I can do that if you want. Happy belated birthday. So KG1, I hope I answered your question. Eileen, thank you so much for your support. No question, but your support is huge. Thank you so much. Message is huge. Hello from the smoky land of Minnesota. JJ Jules, howdy. Janice Burgess, Charlie B from Pacific Beach, California, as usual. Jane Harrell, thank you so much for good words. And as usual, my stream jumps. Eugene Lindsay, what percentage of ordinary families own car? Used to be on the rise. Many families owned in the golden years when everyone was making fabulous money, lots of money in Russia until 2014, you should say. 2011 really, but 12, 13, they were okay years too. Now that percentage is on the decline. Can't tell you the numbers, but not near anywhere the numbers of the United States ordinary families. Perhaps 2 or 3 in 10, something like that. But again, don't quote me on that because I don't possess the numbers. Ed Sedlock, thank you so much for your support. And the question, maybe Putin and friends can start paying back the $1 trillion they stole from the Russian people. Well, that's a rhetorical question. You think that they're gonna start paying back? Yeah. I don't think so. Money's gone. And I think that's way more than $1 trillion. Russia is a very rich country. And in the past 12 or 13 years, we didn't see much of the money. So thank you for your question and your support. Mikhail, maybe a ration book for cards would be a good solution. Ration book for cars. Well, that's more like a science fiction now at this point. Macy Moore, do you think Putin will be out by the end of the year? Yes, I said that and I repeated. I think he'll be out by the end of the year, perhaps earlier than that. I think that could be sooner based on the last week. Me too, I tend to believe that now. Praying for you and your family. Thank you so much. From Texas, sending love to Texas to you. Thank you, Macy. True. Thank you for the great streams. My pleasure. What do you think will happen to the oligarchs if Russia changes in a democratic direction? Not much. They will just flee Russia. There are plenty of places in the world they can hide out. Look what happened 4 days ago. Saturday morning, oligarchs started flying out of Russia. And usually when you fly in your plane, before you take off, you give the destination, where you're going. On Saturday, there were mass of planes taking off and just flying out of Russia with no destination. The oligarchs were scared and they were just flying out. Some are still hiding out, I think, trying to wait the situation out. So nothing will happen to them. They're rich people. They're going to keep at least some of their money. That's going to be enough for them and their families. They'll move to Uruguay, Argentina, Brazil. Some will even move to the United States because they have citizenships. The UK, France. Oh, viva France. 1729, Taurus, thank you. Really appreciate the public resource. You may like the Wages of Destruction, but by Adam Tooze. And On a Knife Edge by Holger Af- Afflerbach. To my shame, I have not heard by these books, The Wages of Destruction and On Knife's Edge, and I have not heard the authors. Let me take a print screen, and thank you for your recommendation and thank you for your support. I appreciate it very much. RW, thank you for sponsoring 10 people with sponsorships. Thank you. Sponsorship has a few bonuses. First of all, once in a while, I do extra material, things I don't share with anyone, with the public. I share with sponsors and patrons. I also do private live streams for sponsors and patrons every Saturday in the afternoon. Late afternoon, early evening for me, and morning for you. So, and of course, there is no time limit. The sponsors can post messages as fast, as often as they want, and there's a limit of 5 minutes for everyone else. That's a necessity. Jason Carney, thank you again. Thank you so much. Paul, let me tell you, what about this idea from Peter Economic Forum to privatize state companies like trains, etc.? We've seen that before. That's a big theft. When someone mentioned, hey, when do you think that Putin and his friends will start returning $1 trillion that they have stolen from Russian people, that's a way of stealing, so to speak. So you see, when Soviet Union fell apart, everything belonged to the state, and people really didn't know what to do with that. So what they did is they privatized. They basically gave everything away to people. It was not the best move, but it happened, okay? It was done. And what happened when Putin came to power, then he started making states strong again. And he started using states' money, government's money, budget's money, to buy back enterprises that were privatized before. And he would place friends. So when the government would buy back, what would become a state-owned company again, right? And all the money it was making belonged to Russian government. So Putin put lots of large companies into holding companies. For example, there's one company that makes trains in Russia, and it belongs to the government. One company that makes helicopters belongs to the government. And Putin's friends had those companies, and they use them to their own liking, you know. And now what they want to do is they want to privatize these companies again. They were privatized in the early 90s already. And that's going to be another scheme the government is trying to perform, so to speak. Calvin, thank you so much. I remember what happened yesterday when I was saying that, you know, you wanted to refund. It wasn't Calvin. It was Alvin. I apologize. So I kind of mistaken the names. Another sack of big potatoes for you, Constantine. Sack is taken and placed on the ground. Thank you so much. Thank you. Klas, thank you so much. From Sweden, I'm definitely not pro-Russian government. But can you say something that US, EU can do to try to solve the conflict? Due to my opinion, we shall change ourselves before blaming others. Very difficult. Well, thanks for the support. Very difficult question. Very difficult. I think that the US and EU started doing what they were supposed to start doing right in the beginning quite late. Okay, that was a mistake. They should have started doing that earlier. They should be doing whatever they have been doing more. Okay. As far as I understand, Russian government declines to negotiate with anyone. So I don't understand what role can play US and Europe in this conflict other than military. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I apologize. That's all I can say. It's a very tough question. Do you think that official published number are correct one? Numbers are correct one? No. Dejan or Dejan. I think it's Dejan. I don't think these numbers that the Russian government publishes are correct. I think the reality is worse. But I take the numbers because they're published. You know, they're already bad enough. Let's put it this way. Two minutes to midnight. Thank you. Spire Gamer, greetings from Norway. Sending my greetings from Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Compromised. Could you do a stream about the time after Putin? What must be done to rebuild the economy? Well, I don't have to do a stream about that. I can answer you in very nutshell. Economy is actually very easy. Why capitalism works is because economic decisions are given to people to make. Okay, there's no government that controls and orders people what to do. In the communist socialist countries, there are such governments and there are such rules, but not in capitalism. So what Russia needs to do well and to rebuild the economy is capitalism. It needs government to stop telling people what to do. It needs to lower taxes. It needs to make sure there is a system of free and independent courts in the country, which isn't right now. It needs to rules and regulations have to be eased up. Freedom of speech must be returned. Of course, free elections must be established. That's plain and simple. There's not much else. And also would be nice if the Marshall Plan for Russia would be executed by the Western companies. So that's don't think the stream is required for this answer. EEP Berlin, who is in charge now, Putin or the KGB? Look, Mr. Berlin, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know who's in charge, supposedly Putin, but what I do know is first, the mutiny is not over. The negotiations are still being conducted. It's just this mutiny has moved from the public view into the behind the curtain mode, okay? And I feel from what the news that I get, I feel that something's going on. Like there's a volcano erupting, but we're just not seeing it because it's on the bottom of the ocean, but it's there. There is so much going on right now. Where it might lead to, will Putin step down? Well, perhaps, I don't know. But there's so much going on. Honestly, I don't know who's in charge. Putin has ejected himself from the public space, from the political space, political landscape of Russia. Yesterday and today, he tried to bring himself back in somehow, but this very meek efforts, Dave Strain. Well, I usually say KGB. It's kind of the same thing. James Sutton, put this toward your ongoing tea fund. Thank you so much. And I'm cheering this fine English breakfast by Twinings to you, my friend. Thank you so much. This is good. I don't know. It's like the best liquid in the world, liquid drink in the world, No, liquid drink. That doesn't sound right. Best non-alcoholic drink in the world. This is good. Flavor is just incredible. To all you Englishmen out there, you guys and girls, you know how to make, produce, grow and package and and brew your tea. Your tea is the best in the world. I've tried many. Barry K, give peace a chance. I would love to. How? Andrew, 62-year-old today, mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. Maybe overlooked. I certainly did overlook, otherwise I would be singing. Oh, everyone, get ready. The second song of the day. Please cover up your ears. And here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Andrew. Happy birthday to you. Wishing you many happy returns of the day and strong, good health and fantastic people around you. Many reasons to smile and no reasons to be sad. Happy birthday. Chris F. Well, I guess I need to finally try English tea. Well, try Twinings. I find it the best. I also like Taylor's at Harrogate. fantastic tea. If you can get your hands on Yorkshire Gold, that's really, really, really great tea. I drink Twinings. It's regular Twinings. I also bought strong flavor in Dubai. I haven't tried it once, so I'm gonna try it soon. And I also bought whatchamacallit? I forgot. Very famous tea, not Twinings, but the one that you drink towards, evening, less strong. Earl Grey. There you go. I like Earl Grey too. Guy L. UK blend the best teas. Agreed. Could not agree more. Tomzuk. German media says Surovikin is in custody. You are not far from the truth, or German media isn't. There are rumors, and I think there's fire behind smoke. But this is not the topic of today's stream. Tomorrow, I will be doing an update on Wagner Mutiny and the aftermaths. And Surovikin is going to be a big part of it. Aerofloper. All Indian tea. Not all. Some tea come from Sri Lanka and some from China. But you're right. But the thing is, I tried different brands, non-English, and they don't taste the same. The tea comes from India, but the tea tastes different. In Russia, forget. You buy Indian tea, completely different taste. I think that the English people, they have high standards for tea, and they maintain the tea that is for, England or by English companies. Somehow it's dried differently or blended differently, or I don't know. But from my experience, English tea is absolute best, no matter where it's grown. In India or Sri Lanka, or where else do they grow tea? Well, China, I guess. I think a couple other countries. Gosh, there's lots of tea talk today. The British military drink tea, not coffee. I don't think it's just British military. I think that all British drink tea, not coffee. Time's up. Ravenna Rose, it's been said that Shoigu is under house arrest. What do you know? I have heard the rumors that he's under house arrest. I tend to believe that because, well, I'm telling you, something's happening. The eruption is taking place. Volcano eruption. We just don't see it because it's behind the curtains. I will try to investigate as much as I can, and tomorrow come back. There will be a stream on the aftermath, the results of Mutiny. That is still happening. Pamela J, we love economics so much that we are talking about tea. I see. I love economics. Remember to tell Twinings about Constantine. Email addresses on the website. Thank you, RW. Thank you so much. Finola, some tea comes from Kenya. Yes, some tea comes from Kenya. I tried it. No, it's okay. Coffee, lots of coffee comes from Kenya. Coffee is good. The last question. Michael, have you tried tea with milk and 2 sugars? Of course. Milk is okay. You know, I try with milk once in a while. You know what? Next stream, I should take some milk and add and drink some tea with milk. But sugars, I don't like tea with sugar. I'm sorry. Just kills taste for me. David Hancock, tell us about thoughts of Bill Browder. His thought and insights on the Russian economy seem to accord with yours, albeit yours are more up to date. I know much about Bill Browder. I read the book by Bill Browder. I followed the story of his attorney, Sergei Magnitsky, in real life when it was happening a long time ago. I remember when Bill Browder was not allowed to come back to Russia at the airport. I remember his story. What do I think of him? He's a fantastic guy, smart, educated. He was able to use the situation in the 90s to his own advantage legally. That was a huge difference because everyone was doing it illegally. He brought first, how do I say that? He brought Western lawfulness into Russian markets. He acted transparently, openly, according to the law, the Russian law, and I think he did lots of good to Russia. And mafia, first of all, they forced him out of Russia, and then they stole the money from him, and they took his attorney and killed him in prison. That's what I think, no more, no less. I think that if people like Bill Browder were in Russia working, creating value, creating products, then Russia would be a much better place. Thank you so much. Finola, Darjeeling, not my most favorite. English tea, I like it so much. English tea, Yorkshire Gold is also good. So thank you so much. I invite everyone to pray to finish the stream as usual with a prayer. All people who are believers and who are non-believers, please come join and pray with us, because just instead of calling this a prayer, call it sending good vibes, good wishes to people. That's what we do. To me, it's the same thing. So, dear friends, again, thank you so much for coming today, for giving me a chance, listening to me and watching to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's pray. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables. Thank you for giving us roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please give us wisdom to keep the sky above our children's heads peaceful, and raise our children in a way that they become good people when they grow up, and they will do a better job running this world than we have done. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, please help stop bloodshed in Ukraine. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of people who are responsible and capable. Open their eyes and have them see what they have done, so they get terrified and they will make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every Ukrainian answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Please send every Ukrainian an angel, so angels will keep people away from harm's way. Please help my country, Russia, assemble your heavenly army consisting of the strongest angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael in shining armor. Have them come down to earth and get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. Please have Russia run by angels, make it right, peaceful, respected, and loved and loving again. Please help those who are traveling, send them safe travels. Help those who are seeking for asylum, send their help their way. Please help the ones who are sick, homeless, jobless, depressed, losing faith, have low self-esteem, not feeling about themselves and about their lives in general. Please shine your heavenly light upon those people. Have them surrounded by your love. Touch their hearts and souls and help them so they feel better about themselves and about their lives. They will get up from their knees and they will have a chance at happy life. Thank you. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians. Please help the Ukrainians who are suffering from the attacks right now and from the war. Please help single women who are struggling, raising children and trying to make ends meet. Please send help their way. Dear Lord, thank you so much for bringing us into this community. Thank you for allowing us to pray, and please help everyone who's praying along right now or simply watching us pray. Answer everyone's prayers and make everyone's wish come true. I would like to answer you to help some people who need your help bad. They are Larry, Brittany, Karen from Maine, Lori Miles' husband, Cherry, Layla, Philip's mother, Thomas Fall's mother, EMS paramedic, Susie Mailer, Gina and Wayfarer, Vladislav and Sergey, Maggie, Adam Oliver, Amy, Grace Philosophy. Please send her recovery and help her family and wonderful granddaughters. Jacob, Lisa, Mr. Dean Spooner and his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, Ashley and family, Mr. Hanson, Heidi, Maureen M. and her sister, Alice and Dave Moyers, Brittany S., Larry, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Svetlana, Janine, Michael Milkevitz, Marlene, Paul Bins, Richard, Mallory M., Linda, Dirk Misler, Lars Henrik, Angelic at Life, and Scan family's grandson, Randolph, Harry's family, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Donald, Jade, Kaltenberg, Wayne, Shirley and Debbie, Jen Allen, Finola, the Highwayman, Essie from the Scottish Isles, Lazarus, David Porter and family, Outlander and family, Chorizo and family, Lars, Susan Marshall, Beulah, Alvin's sister, Terry Carter, Joe and Lee McMahon, Meta Spencer, Diana F., and Diana and her family, Bree's friend, Caroline, Albina Fell, Michael Yukon, Joel, Live, Karen Messer, Pamela J., Lindsay, Greg, Jim and Shirley Hall, Ann Larson, her family and daughter Hannah, Delaney and two daughters, Florentina, Mac's family, Patty L., Sherry Morin, Amir's uncle Dicky, CKOC, Brian Wilkes, Liz Dumbrell and her family, Ripted, daughter of Aspen English, Ruth, Paul, Alona and boys, Pip, Darla, Susan, Santa's Whiskey, Paula McDonald, White Lightning, George Ruberty, Liz Dumbrell and her family again, Dave Strains, Pam, Frank in Texas, Margaret, Linda, Sarah, James Gantz, China Bill, Yorkie Mom, Hannah, Julia Haney, Paul, Susie Mailer, Vasilien, and Heather. Also, please help special children. There are Cadence, Sebastian, Maverick, Coulter, Karin Wasser's niece, Ansley, Theo, Madi, and Ava. Please send recovery and send their families strength. Also, please help all the children of Ukraine and Russia that have been affected, and all the children who are not feeling well. Please send recovery. Shine your light upon them so they feel better, and them and their families, their parents also. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My friends, thank you so much for coming again, for giving me a chance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You awesome and you rock. I would like to ask you to come back tomorrow for a message about the mutiny that continues. And for today, I'm about to sign off. Before, I invite everyone to say the usual along with me out loud. And that is Carthago delenda est.